G'day guys, Matt Tait here, currently in Bali, just walking my way down to the beach to record a little meditation for the channel. And I was just going through some of my old notes with regards to some of the books I wanted to do videos about. One of the books was Louise L. Hay and her book, You Can Heal Your Life. Another one was the book was Letting Go by Dr. David Hawkins. So that was the book Letting Go. I also want to jump into the book Power versus Force by him as well. He's got like 9 books and he's done all this incredible healing and proof, medically proving some of these releasing techniques actually work, which is the sciencey part of me wants to see some evidence. And then the other side of me is just wanting to jump in and see it work for myself. So I'm just here in Bali, I'm doing some videos, so I thought why not do a little bit of walking and talking through the place where we're staying for 3 nights. And so we're here just enjoying Bali and at the same time doing research for a retreat, doing research for the restaurant which I own, and doing research for, because the restaurant's called Little Bali Street Food in Surfers Paradise. So as a result, we have an interest in Balinese everything. So here we are in Bali, Exhibit A. So I'm going to do some videos to help you understand how you can rewire the inside of your mind. So instead of going off the books though, let me just give you my take on all of this. You're unconscious, right? Because all of your problems, all of your patterns, all of our patterns, there's like a 1980s tape deck in our brain. And the 1980s tape deck. Now, if anyone who's under the age of 30 wouldn't know what this is because you grew up at the start of your life with CDs. Anyone who's under the age of 20 doesn't know what a CD is. So it's a different world, right? So we're talking about how we record things. Now, in the 1980s, we had these things called magnetic tapes. And I have to go and find one to buy one because I want to use it as a prop because it's a very good prop to have. And these magnetic tapes, any sound that was in the room or on the radio, and that sound would be recorded on the tape. And so as the sound was recorded on the tape, you could then put the tape into another tape deck anywhere and press the play button and the sound would play. And so we used to record off the radio music if we didn't want to go to the store and pay for it, right? As kids, I'm going to record it. But you had to get the tape recording at exactly the right time, and then you had to stop it at the end if you wanted to get a nice clean cut. And nobody could talk in the room. Of course, someone would come in and start talking and ruin your recording. So this is what our unconscious mind does. It records things. In particular, it's most powerful at the ages of 7 years of age. 0 to 7, it's just recording everything. 0 to 7, it's just putting it all in there. And we're recording different meanings, recording different interpretations of the world. And what we actually, this is what I got from Louise L. Hay's book, and that is that we're recording the reactions of our parents, the reactions of maybe some teachers, the reactions of any leaders in our world. And these are the reactions that cause certain emotions, certain meanings, certain things coming through. So this is something really important to remember because those reactions are so important. So when you're reacting to something, it's because you were fearing the loss of something. You were fearing maybe the loss of love or something you wanted, something you were afraid of losing. But the 0 to 7, I mean, you imagine that as an adult visiting a 0 to 7-year-old, call it a 7-year-old child or a 6-year-old child. You approach them with a bit of care and a bit of responsibility as an adult. You don't just tell them, you know, all the logical things about the world because they don't understand. They'll never have the reference point. And yet, we carry these children around in our brain. We're carrying them around in our mind. We're carrying around and we're still replaying the same story. Now, when you're coaching someone else, it seems quite obvious to see someone else's stuff. But it's very hard to see your own stuff until it's kind of bounced back at you, until it's kind of comes back at you in a way that you think, that is not too good. So this is what I wanted to talk about, is that emotional home that you create inside yourself. Maybe you're a naturally angry person, or a naturally sad person, or a naturally guilty person, or you're a naturally anxious person. All of these things, quite often, some of the roots of them, not all of them, things happen in adult life too, but they've got into the tape deck of your mind. They've got into the recording that has lived in there, rent-free in your brain and in your body, by the way, and it's living there for 10, 20, 30 plus years. So here's the thing that we want to do. We want to jump in, and we would like to tweak the recording. Another metaphor that I use, because I'm in construction for many, many years, I was in design, in structural engineering as the draftsman. And so I've been drawing up structures 20 or 30 years, doing buildings from the foundations up, making architects' buildings stand up, beams, lintels, studs, walls, concrete, reinforcement, foundations, board piers, pad footings, strip footings, precast walls, all of that sort of stuff, all the concrete, steel, timber that holds up a building. And we would always start, design-wise, by adding up the weight coming down onto the footing. And then the footing will not work unless we get in and see what's in the soil. So it's a very logical kind of a sequence that we go through in engineering. And we've got to create that good foundation for you. A foundation that works, a foundation that's going to serve you, a foundation that's going to allow you to get all your goals. And so if that house is built on quicksand, we're going to, some boys just sitting around having a good time, waiting for their next ride or whatever they're doing. And so if you're going to have that bad foundation, your house is going to sink in the quicksand, whatever you try to do. Now, if we think about this back to the Tait, the 1980s tape deck recorder, the 1980s tape deck recorder, the magnetic tape's in your brain. And we can do something about it. There is 1,000 different techniques to get underneath the surface of that and to record something different. Now, the very first thing that I always talk to people about is that a lot of those things, happened 20, 30 years ago. And I try to let your unconscious mind know that these things happened a long time ago. And that there is a 7-year-old driving your bus. So let's get the 7-year-old out of the driver's seat and put the 7-year-old in the passenger seat. And as an adult, let's start to drive the bus to keep it on the road, to stop it going over the cliff. All right, so this is the key, I think, to the unconscious mind work. The book, Louise L. Hay talks about your emotional home. It talks about your emotional home and how you keep on coming back to it. Well, what if you could rebuild a new emotional home using the tape deck of your mind, using the metaphor of construction? Now, if you like the rest of your emotional home, that's cool. If you love the front room, you love the front 3 bedrooms, you love the study, but you really hate the kitchen, well, let's renovate the kitchen. Let's remodel. If you want to extend the kitchen and make it bigger, let's extend the building. If the whole house is dilapidated and falling down and a danger and it's causing all sorts of problems, let's knock it down and design a brand new one. But we're all doing this with your identity, with your brain. This is why I'm attracted to self-concept work. This is why I'm attracted to the unconscious mind. And this is why I talk about the filters of your mind, values work, etc. Very nice place over here. So this is what we're talking about, is we're talking about the unconscious mind. So, these books that I'm talking about, these are kind of those staples. These are those books that all the coaches go to. And I see it coming up again and again. So I wanted to study these books, and what I found inside them is there's a whole bunch of activities. And this overlays perfectly with all of the coaching I've done with the self-directed healing, with the neuro-linguistic programming, with the life coaching. I mean, I see this as kind of like a carpenter. You're not really caring about the fact that a carpenter has a drop saw. You're not really caring that the carpenter has, you know, tape measure, or he's got a drill, or he's got a nail gun, or he's got the hammer. You don't care. He's got a chisel. You don't care about any of the. He's got 1,000 tools in the back of that van. You don't care about any of that. What you care about is the remodeling of the house. Morning, selamat pagi. Bagus. Very friendly. And so that's what we care about. We care about these the rewiring of the brain to get you the result. So if you're hitting up against the wall, you've got all of that self-doubt. And this is why I love self-concept model. I mean, I love all these techniques because they start to reveal good stuff you're already doing. If you're an adult in the world, you're a grown person, and you've survived this long, and you're 30 or 40 or 50 years old, you probably have some skills. You've probably figured some things out. So we've got to actually extract that out of your self-concept. We've got to extract that out of your database. You have deleted them. They're sitting there in the background and you've forgotten about them. A lot of the work we do in coaching is getting your brain refocused, getting your brain to look at the good stuff, getting your brain to understand what the hell's going on, getting your brain to acknowledge the good stuff, right? That's half the battle. Getting your brain to know that this is valuable. And when your brain sees it, it goes, oh, I forgot about that. And you start to focus. A lot of what we're doing, motorcycles on the footpath, always find that hilarious in Bali. So let's just show you where we are. We're at Pantai Jerman Beach, which is south of Kuta in Bali. And it's a very nice area. Very quiet today. And what's today? Today's Friday. I'm not sure. It's not quite the high season though. I must be on a bit of a road here. They're just buzzing by me. I hope I'm not in any trouble. There we go. I think this is like the main highway in town. Look out. So they come from the main streets down these alleyways and scoot up the side. So, this is a cool little walk though. I do like this walking track down towards Jerman Beach. Better do a U-turn soon because we have to be going soon. But I want to do a quick video and talk about your emotional home. Your emotional home, as it turns out, is something that was probably put there by your parents. Your emotional home is something that's living inside of you rent-free. Now, if it's serving you, awesome. If you've got all sorts of self-belief and it's been built up over the years with experiences, that's awesome. But if you have an identity that was put in there when you're a kid, and that identity is blocking all good experiences, it's blocking all of the positive things you've done, let's bring those things back out to the surface, the positive things you've done, so that you can reveal the good stuff to your unconscious. And what we're going to do inside your brain is we're going to reorganize and refocus and bring to the surface the self-concept, to realize that you don't need to chase love, that you are love. You don't need to chase the things that you're worried about. You actually can be the answer inside you. So this is what we do with self-concept work. This is what we do with self-directed healing. This is what we're doing with timelines. This is what we're doing with different meditations. We're just finding the key that unlocks the door to your brain. So a little bit about my story. So I'm finding that I'm attracting clients recently who are dealing with things like abandonment, or it's abandonment in different ways. Sometimes they abandon themselves. Sometimes they were actually abandoned. And so we're doing some work to reveal where they're not abandoned right now. Maybe those things did happen. And as kids, we don't have much control over it. But we can rewire them. Even on the plane, I was reading the David Hawkins book, Letting Go. And even on the plane, I thought, okay, let's try some letting go stuff that he's saying in this book. Let's feel it. That's when I realized I've already done this before many times, and I've just forgotten the skill. So I jumped back in. A whole bunch of bikes over here, chilling out in Bali. And now part of my story here is that I realized, go on this footpath here, that part of my story that I hadn't really acknowledged until I started coaching, where I realized this was a thing. Because I'd had a good life. I, thought all was good. I thought, everything was fine. But I was having this self-doubt of myself. And I was having this thing where I wasn't stepping out into the world. I'd held myself back for many years. Some of it is vision, not knowing what's possible. But some of it is actually coming from a lack of sense of self, not being able to then explore the world and find the opportunities, right? So I had to play with the filters in my own brain. So here is part of the story. Part of the story for me was that at 2 days old, I was adopted. Now, that is a thing that happened, but I don't have any memory of that is conscious, right? I can't say, oh yeah, I remember when this happened. No. But there is somatic memory in that. There was some things that came up doing some of the deeper processes where I realized, oh, crap, that really did impact me. It did impact me being separated from your birth mother at that age. Okay, that's interesting. Because I had a good life. It's interesting how you consciously, how do I put it? How you consciously justify these things. Because I thought to myself, well, you know what? I looked around at all of the families who are full-blood families, and I wasn't. And I thought to myself, I'm not very envious. These people were a basket case, whether it be neighbours, different cousins, different people in different parts of the family. And I was like, well, there's nothing I'm really envying here. I'm having a good relationship with mum and dad. Life's pretty good. I'm getting Easter eggs at Easter. I'm getting Christmas presents at Christmas. And we went on holidays, all family stuff. I mean, I did not think that I missed out. Now, had you had a bad experience, I could imagine if you were adopted into a crap family with drugs and alcohol and, all sorts of nasty stuff, then totally would have understood that. Someone could, and this is the thing, the adoption numbers are disproportionately high in prisons and in psychiatric wards and all these other places because of bad things happening and being blamed on the adoption, obviously, because you're going to come to those conclusions. But mine was the opposite, right? So I didn't have conscious memories of adoption being a problem. But in your self-belief in yourself, I thought, okay, well, it's a component. I've come to the conclusion it definitely was a piece of the puzzle that needed resolving. So it's not lost on me that I'm attracting clients who are dealing with abandonment kind of issues in a variety of ways, because I have been healing this myself and I'm a long way further along the track than they are, with a lot of skills being a coach. And as a result, let's go through here, have a look at the nice statue before we head back. And as a result, we find ourselves in a position where I'm coaching people through that abandonment wound. And I'm finding myself reading all of the psychological literature on it, absorbing all the content of the fellow coaches who do similar work, just to find the fastest way for each person, because different people respond to slightly different techniques. They all work, but some people will be faster with one than another. So it's an amazing thing to observe. It's an amazing thing to bear witness to someone else who is going through rewiring their brain from abandonment to self-acceptance, from abandonment to self-love or loving of self. Or as one of the, there we are at German Beach, and the Vishnu, I think it's a Vishnu statue. I'll get the stats on what that is, but I think it's a statue of, I'll have to go and have a read of that one, see what that actually is. I'll be able to Google it. It's on Google Maps. Google Maps tells you everything. So yeah, it's an amazing thing to bear witness of someone who's overcoming these problems and see them start to accept themselves differently. Now, some of the abandonment issues, it doesn't have to be an adoption, or it doesn't have to be where your father or your mother left. What it can be is that you abandon yourself because maybe your father, I've had some clients who are incredible businesswomen, and that their father said that, you know, girls should be seen, not heard, or children should be seen, not heard, or words to that effect. And it's gone in deep. And here they are trying to forge on into the world as business people. Incredible salespeople, some of them, much better than I would ever have been at that point in time. A lot of experience, yet they were not stepping out beyond the comfort zone. They had the skill to do it. That was the thing. It wasn't like they didn't know. They were incredible for some of these clients. But the messages from their father nested in their hearts. And the messages from their father was stopping them from abundance. And so if you're a mother or a father out there, say lots of positive things to your kids. Wire it into their brain. Let them know that they can do anything. Let them know that they're really smart. And you can presuppose they're very smart. Presuppose they're very loved. So, wow, where did you get all that intelligence from? Where did you get all that love from? Where did you get all that compassion from? You're so much better than I am. That goes in deep when you say that to a kid. Because they go, wow, mum thinks I'm this, mum thinks I'm that. It's an amazing thing to bear witness to. So that's a little story for today, making the most of my walk and talk through the streets or the footpaths of German Beach in Kuta in Bali. And actually stayed at that one last time, had one night there, at this one over here. Very nice place over there. So going back now, about to jump on a plane, back to reality, back to normal life, away from the tropical scenarios. And I hope you got something from this chat. What is your emotional home? What's going on with the tape deck in your mind? You can, by following all these videos, jumping into my reset room, which is free, which is a school community. I will keep on putting videos like this in there that will help you to move forward. This is Matt Tait signing out. Walk in the Road YouTube channel, Matthew Tait Coaching, and come and join me in the reset room. I'll put the link below. I'll see you there.